We are at part 2 of our HTML, CSS, JS journey, and welcome back. And thank you for spending 2 hours of your time with me this morning. We're going to talk about how we can style the HTML element using CSS or cascading style sheet. CSS is a markup language just like HTML. One of the important features of CSS is the creation of responsive web pages. Responsive web pages will scale the web page automatically to suit your device screen. Since we have a lot to cover in today's class, I will talk about responsive web pages in other parts of the class. Personally, I think CSS is the most difficult part in web development. I find CSS is not a science but more like an art. CSS is always my weak point in the web development process, and it is also the area that I spend most of my time on when developing a web page from scratch. It is also the part that get me stuck the most and falls into the coding trap repeatedly, especially when I have not touched the subject for a while. By spending 2 hours with me this morning, I hope that I can clear some of the hurdle in your CSS learning process and give you some head start and also make your learning journey more enjoyable and fun. I have a small demonstration here to show you how a style sheet can change your web page. This is a HTML document that I downloaded from a website called CSS Zen Garden. CSS Zen Garden was launched in 2003 and is outdated now. At that time, CSS Zen Garden was designed to let people style the same HTML document using different styling and post them on the web page with the sole purpose of encouraging web developers to use CSS. Of course, CSS is now part of web development that you cannot do without. I have the original HTML document from CSS Zen Garden on the left hand side, and it was styled using a style sheet called style 1, and the result is shown on the right side of the browser screen. Now what I will do now is to change the style sheet to style 2 in the link element like this. From style 1 to style 2. Not to worry how this link element works at this moment, as we will cover them in more details later. Now I have saved the file. I have also have 2 tabs open on the browser which point to the same HTML document. And I'm going to go to the second tab here and refresh the page to reflect the changes that we just made. So we have changed actually from style 1 to style 2. That means 2 totally different style sheets. And you can see now the web page looks totally different, even though it contains the same HTML elements. Remember what we did not change or add any of the HTML elements in the original HTML documents. All I did here is just simply link the document to a different style sheet. So this is style 1 and this is style 2. So in summary, the styling of a web page can either make or break a web page. Next, let us look at what is a cascading style sheet, or in short, CSS. Cascading style sheet, or CSS in short, was first published in 1994 by a Norwegian web pioneer while he was working with Tim Berners-Lee, who is the founder of HTML. The idea is to separate out styling components from the HTML elements. The first version was released in 1996, and version 2 2 years later. And now we are currently using version 3 released in 2017. Version 3 is currently supported by the majority of the browsers except the older versions of Internet Explorer or IE. Next, we'll see how we can style an HTML element.